Dr Reena here. I'm a dental specialist and founder of RW Perio, located at 75 Harley Street. Welcome to my podcast, Life and Smile, where we talk about everything dental, lifestyle, business, and much more. Every episode, I'm joined in conversation with a specialist expert in their chosen field, who give us a behind-the-scenes glimpse into their daily regime, career turning points, and an insider look at what they can't live without. As a businesswoman myself, it's so inspiring to hear how people have built their careers and shattered those glass ceilings. So let's get the conversation going. Dr. Reena here, and welcome back to Life and Smile. As we draw to a close with our 6th season of this show, we have an incredibly inspiring, fun, and motivational episode planned with our latest guest. Sitting across from me is the musical theatre star Talia Palamathanan. You may know her from winning the award as the Best Newcomer at the 2024 Asian Media Awards. And what a star she is. We first crossed paths when I saw her playing the iconic Jennifer Parker in the hit show Back to the Future. But we've managed to whisk her away from the West End to Harley Street to join us in conversation in our recording studio. Talia, welcome to Life and Smile.
Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
So I want to start from the beginning. I mean, you're doing incredibly well now. It's so amazing to watch you perform on the show and so inspiring. But talk us through like the early years and how you got into doing what you're doing.
My parents have always been big fans of musical theatre. They've not been in it themselves and stuff. They had quite a normal upbringing, but they were always big fans of musicals, and we kind of grew up watching like The Sound of Music and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and things like that. And I just joined my local dance school, the Laura Bruce Dance Academy in Bromley, and we started out doing a lot of classes from quite a young age, and this is me and my sister.
A lot, like every...
I would say, you know what, it grew, I think when I was 17, it grew to about 17 classes a week, yeah, between me and my sister.
A week? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it got quite intense.
Wow.
Yeah, but we would start at like tap and modern when we were really, really young, and then it grew to like hip hop, then musical theatre, then ballet, and then singing and acting and all those kinds of things. And it just started out as a hobby. And then it started to become a little bit more when we would do like school plays and stuff, and we would start to get like lead roles and things like that. And then we were all kind of figured out that we were like, oh, this is something that we're good at and we actually really enjoy as well. Then I actually started working professionally from about, I think, from about 2012. God, how many years is that now? Like 13. Yeah, no. And it just started out as like adverts and stuff. My mum joined me to like a child agency. We didn't expect anything like huge from it really. And I started out, I think my first advert I ever did was a Tesco advert.
Right.
And that was just fun. I was just eating sandwiches and I was talking about football. And it was like, the experience of being on set for me when I was really younger was just so exciting. And I was like, oh, this is really, really fun and something that I want to continue doing. Then musical theatre started to come into the picture because I was a huge fan of The Lion King. That was my
ultimate favourite show initially.
That was like my gateway drug into like musical theatre. And I'd seen the show when I was younger. I was obsessed with the film. And I actually auditioned for Cub School, which is what the training programme is to be young Simba and young Nala. And you train for like, I think every Friday for like 6 months to be young Simba and Nala, and I was successful getting through to that part of the process. And you know what, funny enough, I didn't get it at the end of that, which was so heartbreaking to me. But then it's funny how things work out. I then moved, I did an audition for Matilda.
Right.
And then I got that.
Oh, wow.
And like that's where everything's kind of stemmed from and begun. So I was in that show for about nearly a year in the West End when I was about 11 and 12, which is quite an unreal experience to kind of do like a full-time job really when you're just starting out in year 7 at school. Like that's an odd world to be part of. So I did that for a bit, and then I did when you're a kid in the West End, you can only do jobs when you're smaller than 5 foot 5. Sorry, 5 foot 5. Right. That's not even taller than that now. Like 4 foot 10, 5 foot. So after that, I had like a random growth spurt when I was 11. I'm not even much that taller than now. But I didn't do many other shows after that. But then I joined the Brit School when I was 14 on the musical theatre course. And I stayed there until I was 17. And honestly, I absolutely adore the Brit School. That's where like really ignited my passion for musical theatre. I've met so many friends there that I have friends for life. Right. And it's just such a motivational place, and it really like helps nurture young people. And it's in Croydon, it's free. And it's so brilliant for even just like working with other industries and really knowing your way around the performing arts and the world around that. Then at 17, which I was in year 12, I did a random open call that my mum had sent me on Instagram, which is for the Everybody's Talking About Jamie film. And I had been involved in hip hop before that because I was part of, do you remember Flawless from Britain's Got Talent? Yeah.
Yes.
So I was part of their younger dance like crew thing.
Yeah.
When and that's where I learned hip hop and stuff. And a similar company to that, Zoo Nation, which is really big in hip hop theatre, was holding this open call. And I sent it, and my mum sent it to me, and I was like, I'm not going. I was really stubborn about it, and she was like, no, just go. And randomly that evening, my English A-level got cancelled out of nowhere. In an entire year, it got cancelled.
What are the chances?
I know,
of that
what are the chances of that? So I went to this open call after work, after school, and I got it. And it was just to be a backup dancer in this film for like on and off for 3 months. So I would go up between Sheffield and work there and be just a dancer in the film. And that was where everything kind of like began for me, because Kate Prince, who's the owner of Z Nation, one day she cornered me at a train station in the nicest way possible and was like, "Can you sing?" And I was like, "I think so, yes." And she asked me to come to the final for the tour that they were having of the same show. And I was like, I'm in school, I can't really do this, I have one more year left. Yeah. I told my mum, and she was like, right, we're going to go for it, we're going to really push. And it was after then when I got Becca on the tour, which is one of the ensemble girls, and it just took off. So I left year 13 early, left school early, I know, and I did like half my AS levels on tour and stuff, and then went off on tour in January of 2020. Then we shut down because of COVID.
Yes.
I know. Went back to do some reshoots for the film. I was still quite involved in the industry, and then went back to the show after COVID happened, and I got made cover Pretty Pasha as well as the role Becca that I was playing. Right. And I got to do the role for a week straight in Hull. Wow. And then never did it again. And it was like the most amazing experience for me. It was like to cover a lead role in a West End show, and it was really exciting. And so I did the show for a year. Oh my God, I completely forgot about this. I went to LA with the show as well.
Oh wow,
which is really exciting. Yeah, we did the North American premiere.
Fantastic.
So we went out to LA for 2.5 months, I think it was, to really set up the show there and try and bring an American audience to it.
Yes.
And that was the most surreal experience as well. Like, when do you ever get to do that? Go on a holiday for 2 months and do something that you love. Then left the show. I did another smaller show called Cages, which was it's quite a goth style show. It was very, very different to what I've done before. Okay. Then a year later, I got the call, and I had been offered the role of Pretty full time to do on the most recent tour that we've just done, which was all around, which was only just finished a couple of months ago. Okay. So we did that. We opened it again in London at the Peacock Theatre. Did that for a year, and I was also the dance captain. Right. Which is a crazy experience to be a principal and a dance captain at the same time. But, you learn a lot of things. But, and then recently, I think, when did I join Back to the Future? Oh, I auditioned for Back to the Future whilst I was still on tour in January of, about a year ago, a year to the day, actually. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, you just got to keep going these things. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't. Yes. And I actually do quite like an audition. Anyway, I found out I got that in February, and then I had to do something called doubling up, where you do rehearsals throughout the day. This was in about July of this last year. Doubling up, so you do rehearsals all through the day, and then I had to get on a train to Leicester and do the show at night. And then come back the next day and then do rehearsals for Back to the Future. Yeah, so I did that for about 2 weeks, and then joined Back to the Future in August. And I've been there ever since.
What a journey.
I know, quite the journey. I know.
That's pretty incredible. So, like, just going back, I mean, all of that is just, like, so much to talk about there. When you mentioned, like, when you were much younger and then you realised, okay, this is what I want to do. Was it just like a day where, like, it clicked, like, this is going to be my job? Or was it just like a slow progression that you're like, okay, this is naturally happening?
Yeah, it was more of like a natural progression where I kind of just fell into it, and it just seemed like the more natural path to go down. I was very academic as a kid, and so was my sister. And my parents had kind of been like, well, as long as you keep up your academics, you can do these jobs on the side and stuff. And they would take us out for auditions, and they were very, very good with things like that. And you know what? My parents had always said to me, like, you can always go back to school.
Yes.
You can't go back to this, so why not
True.
just try? And it kind of just naturally happened. And I've been really, really lucky and fortunate to have the career that I've had in such a sort of like serendipitous kind of way. This all kind of like works together, and it's like I've gotten one job for the reason of another, and things like that. Yeah,
step by step. Was it strange, like when you were much younger, you were having to go to school and then do all this other stuff, like basically work at the same time? Like, did you find it tricky to explain that to your friends? How did you manage, like, because you need a lot of stamina then, because you need to focus on both things. How did you juggle that? It
is quite difficult. Like, you grow up very, very fast. In the sense of like you're meant to. My mum was really good, and she used to like take us out of school a little bit earlier so we could get enough rest and take us for dinner and stuff like that. But you would go to school until like 11 o'clock, and then you get taken out of school and then go and have to do a show. And it's not quite the 8-show week that you work as an adult. You do like five shows on, 3 shows off, and then a week off. But it's still like the stamina of like, you just have to keep going. And Matilda was a very, very, very physical show for children, for anyone. Yeah. So I think, again, my parents were really good at like making sure that we were like, they would give us like massages and things like that, give us good food and make sure we were really fueled. And really, at that time, I was just joining secondary school, and that's a really hard position to be in, because you're missing like 60% of school, and you don't have this time to bond socially with your other peers, and you have this job where how do you relate to someone where all your friends all they want to do is hang out with each other, and that's quite a hard thing. And I feel like because I grew up so quickly as well, I had a bit of a older mindset that I had to be more mindful of my career as opposed to being like, oh, I just want to do things for my enjoyment and fun. That being said, though, the friends that I made on Matilda are my like best friends for life, and that I would never have given up those friendships for that kind of thing. And it all works out now, and those are still best friends that I still talk to this day. We do everything together. We've done jobs together. Amazing. So it all does work out. But yeah,
it's a different scene.
Very different scene.
Your parents sound like amazing. They seem very, very instrumental in.
They're very much my biggest inspiration still to this day. I say in every interview that I've ever done, because they grew up with nothing. They grew up in Croydon with nothing, and they worked really, really hard to get where they are now. And they're very, very, very driven people. And again, they're not in anything to do with performing arts at all. But they loved it growing up, but then didn't see themselves in one of those positions. So they thought it wasn't possible, it wasn't for us, really. Sure. So when we expressed an interest in it, they were all for it, because they couldn't do those opportunities themselves when they were younger, and why not be the first Asian people to break into this? But they're all really like, I feel like as a family we're quite like a business model. We're all really good with each other in terms of like we all help each other out and stuff like that. And my parents, and they're so like keen on knowledge. I think that's like a quite big thing of like our family. We like learning about new things all the time. Even now, like my dad has so many hobbies on top of his job that he does. My mum has just set up her own business after raising me and my sister for however many years, based on her interests. I think I'm constantly in an environment that's like supported by drive and just going after your goals and things like that. So
that's incredible. Yeah. They must be so proud. Yeah. You mentioned about, I mentioned in the intro about you becoming the Best Newcomer Award for Asian Media Awards in 2024. What's this meant for you? I mean, on a kind of bigger scale, being able to represent the Asian community while championing diversity within the arts, what's that meant for you?
Getting that award was a completely surreal experience. It's not anything that you really almost dream of, and then when it happens, it's quite an overwhelming feeling. But South Asians in musical theatre often go overlooked. I think we're starting to get a bit more traction in film and TV now, but musical theatre is one of those genres that just kind of gets swept by the wayside. So it was really interesting to actually go to that event and be surrounded by so many other Asian creatives, but from so many different industries, and they really didn't know anything really about musical theatre and what South Asians in musical theatre can do, and like other performers and stuff. So it was really nice to like just open other people's eyes within our own community. Even like it's less about almost like the wider side of diversity and what it can do for musical theatre, but within our own community, it's now seen as like a viable career choice, and that there is steps that you can take, and even with like other industries and stuff, how we can link, how we can help each other, and it was really, really brilliant. And I'm a big advocate for diversity in general, as well as South Asian diversity. And I'm an advisory board member for the Tide movement, which is a organisation set up by Stacey Green, which is about championing diversity within the arts. It started off in dance, but it's now moved to bigger things like musical theatre and beyond. And she got me on board because she saw a post that I did when I performed at West End Live about what it means to be brown and be seen and be represented and all those things. And she got me on board. And they do brilliant work about going through the colleges in all the dance and drama colleges throughout London, and making sure that proper things are put in place for performers of colour. And they're now working their way up to, make sure that diversity, equity, inclusion is a bigger thing within the industry, and that everyone is seen and everyone is heard. So all these things hand in hand really help push the agenda of South Asians in musical theatre and diversity in general.
Brilliant. In terms of like looking back, if you had to give some advice to your younger self, or someone who's interested in taking the same sort of career pathway, what would you say to them?
Funny enough, I saw a little poster that's in my room earlier. It's like the bottom of my bookshelf, and it was something that was given to me by my mum when I first got that huge rejection from Lion King. And it says, "Sometimes on the way to the dream, you get lost to find a better one." And I was thinking about that's basically just rejection is redirection.
Yes.
And especially in this industry, you do face a lot of rejection. And over the years, I've become quite hard into it, no matter how much it stings, and it's heartbreaking. But I've learned so much from every rejection I've ever had. It couldn't have ended up in a better place. And we're quite spiritual as a family as well, in that sense of like what is meant for you will find you. So those two things together, I think it's important to keep working hard and learning from those rejections, what you did well, what you can improve on. And also don't be so hard on myself. I think I'm quite a bad culprit for that. And I think South Asians in general are a huge, culprit for that. So as long as you're showing up and doing the work, the right thing will find you, and those things will be bigger than, that you can possibly imagine.
I love that. Rejection is redirection. I need to save that quote. No, I completely agree. And it's like, at the time, you can't see that that's meant to be the right thing for you. But every time you reflect back, you're like, okay, maybe that did happen for the right reason. Then the dots do connect.
Yeah, we try and do like a 5-minute funeral every time I get rejected. Like I can be sad and bitter and all those things. And then you've got to move on. And then the next thing will find you.
What's your proudest moment today?
Funnily enough, I think getting the role of Pretty Pasha full-time was my proudest moment, because for me, when I first joined Jamie, that was a role that is one of the only South Asian roles I've ever seen written in musical theatre. She's a South Asian Muslim woman who, faces all this adversity in the story, and she's Jamie's best friend, but she, goes on her own journey of becoming her own woman in this. And when I first joined the show, I was like, that's the role that I'm going to aim for. I didn't know how I was going to get it, or those kind of things, or if I ever would. And when I got to cover it, that was my thing. I was like, cool, I've done it at least once, and that's fine for me. And then when I got that call from my agent to be like, they would like you to do it based on, from when they had seen me do it when I did it for that week, that was like a really full circle moment for me of like, all the hard work does like pay off to. And it's everyone's working like for you in ways that you don't know, and that was a really big proud moment for me, and I know my family was really proud about that as well, because you're then playing a role that for Pretty was kind of like who I was at school as well, so you're giving justice to that like younger version of yourself, and you're like I like everything she stands for, so it was a really proud moment.
Amazing. And interestingly, we were talking about it earlier before the podcast. Your day-to-day routine, your typical working week isn't a typical from kind of most people.
No.
Tell us more, like, how does it all work? What do you do during the day, evenings?
So performers do an 8-show week. So you typically have 1 day off a week, and then you do 5 normal shows and 2 days of double shows. So you've got a matinee and then an evening. So my day off normally is a Tuesday. So today, which is Wednesday, I don't have a show until the evening. So like I have free time to do whatever I want in the day. I won't lie, I prioritise rest as much as I can. when you're on tour in a similar kind of working schedule, that's quite taxing on your body. And I've been doing touring for a long time of my life. So then when I then finally came back to London, it was very much like, I'm just going to enjoy my time and like seeing friends in this time, and you know, going for dinner, or even just sitting in bed and just having like a nice rest. So you then start work at 6, which is, or if you're doing a matinee, then it will be like 1.
Okay.
And you have to do warm-ups. You do a physical warm-up first, and then a vocal warm-up, and then you do like a little parish notices where you check in with everyone, see who's on for the day, if there's covers on, and if there's a cut show, which a cut show is if there's not enough people or not enough swings to cover all the roles in the cast. You then have to like rehearse some things out, or if you've got like a little like show to do, like a West End Live or like a little TV appearance here and there, you've got like, that's your time to kind of do it. Then you go back to your dressing room, you then get ready, put my makeup on, put my hair in wig prep, and you have something called the half-hour call, which is it's about 35 minutes before the show, because 5 minutes before, that's our beginners call. So when you're all sitting in your seats, we're all running around, and that's where you go and get your wig on in your wig slot, and you starting to get into costumes, you get into your mics, and that's when everyone starts getting ready, and then you do a show for 2.5 to 3 hours, then you just go home at 11 o'clock.
You're done once you're done.
You're done once you're done, and then it starts again the next day. For 8 shows a week. Which is tough, but when you're doing something you love, it's still enjoyable, and you're around good people all the time as well.
And then you get into routine of it, and that's your kind of routine. And then I guess you have times where, like, weeks where you're not working, or how does that work?
No, so you
like,
get
you break.
On tour. You get holiday weeks set for you.
Right. Okay.
'Cause you can't take holiday as you would in a normal job.
Yeah.
So you get like the odd week set for you. But when you're in town, you then get 30 days holiday, and then you fight with everyone else across the company to try and get your days, because you can't be off on the same day as your cover, and you know, you have to work all those things out. Like, I just recently took a week off, so then, which is nice. So then after the Christmas schedule, it then changes and stuff. So,
wow. What's it like behind stage? Like, say you needed to hydrate, or when you get like costume change, is it literally crazy behind the scenes? Like, do you have lots of people just waiting there?
It is, because you have every department backstage.
Right. Okay.
So you've got sound, you've got lighting, you've got costume, you've got wigs.
Yeah.
It is very much like a very like swift moving like production.
Yes.
But everyone has a routine, and everyone knows what they're doing. It's like their own track. So you have your on-stage track, which is like, for me, Jennifer Parker, I go on and do this number. Yeah. But then you also have your off-stage track. I have to be at this point backstage at this time, because I have to get my wig on here to then... So...
All very organised.
It's all very, very organised. It's like organised chaos, I would say. You have like a little understage part, which is where we all sit for the most of the time, and that's where we all get changed. And then we all have... This is funny. We all have certain like... toilet time,
right? Yeah,
because
course.
Especially in Back to the Future, in Act 1, the ensemble are on it in the show the whole time. They're on and off into the next costume, into the next. So you have to like find breaks where you can be like, right, I need to slip away here, or I need to take a breather, and I need to have a drink, things like that.
So interesting. What's your goals now? Like, what's your ambitions? Is it to continue what you're doing, or what's your
I absolutely love musical theatre. I think that's like, for me, that's like what I love doing. But I really want to start to like branch into some other like performing careers, whether that be like TV, film, or like radio, presenting, things like that. I love getting my fingers in as many pies as possible, really. Because it all kind of comes back in the same like way.
Definitely.
And, you know, you meet all the same people, and I just like to do as many things as I can, really. I don't really like to limit myself to be like, I just want to do this, or like, I don't want to do that because I can't, because you might as well just try something new.
For sure. We'll watch that space then.
Yeah, no, I do want to move into, eventually, when I'm older and I don't really want to perform anymore, I want to like move to the other side of the panel.
Yes.
Because again, that's a big struggle for diversity, in the sense of that you can go into an audition room and you see no one that looks like you, and you don't know who is almost fighting your corner on that side of the panel, and that's where change comes from, is moving up the ranks.
Absolutely.
So I want to eventually get to that point where I can be like, I can help someone else out. And stuff like that. Yeah.
Lovely. My final question that I like to ask all of our guests is 3 things that we can always find as part of your like mini survival kit, or that's always in your dressing room. What would they be?
Right. Always in my dressing room. Always have crystals. I'm quite a big person for like tarot cards and angel cards and crystals. I always just think it just brings really nice energy. into a dressing room. So I've always got my little like tray of crystals that I've collected mostly from like around tour, where I've gone to like different crystal shops around the country and stuff like that. I always have pictures, whether that be of my family, my boyfriend, my dog. Yeah. I've actually got my favourite picture in there, which is a picture of me at Jamie, but with all my grandparents around me, and they had all come to see the show that day. And that's just like a really nice picture just to have in the middle of everything. That always makes me feel nice. And you know, this is going to be a really random last one, but sunglasses.
Really?
I always get mugged off by all of my friends because I love wearing sunglasses no matter what the weather is. But it's like my like mask.
Yes.
You like something that makes it automatically just makes me feel good and like strong and those things. I think that's like my day-to-day survival kit. You can always find I've inherited that from my mum. Always find me in a pair of sunglasses. Yeah,
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Charlie. It's been so nice to speak to you. Congratulations on everything that you've done, and yeah, hopefully we will see each other soon. Yes. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.